Hey there, folks. If you're enjoying Secrets of the Ancients, don't forget to subscribe, like, and drop a comment below. It really helps us out and makes sure you won't miss any of our upcoming adventures into the past. Myths and secrets of the Great Wall of China and ancient tomb traps. There are tons of myths about the most impressive human-made structure ever built, the Great Wall of China. Some say it's so massive you can see it from space. Others claim you could spot it from the moon. And there are even stories that the workers who built it were buried inside. Well, sorry to disappoint you, but none of these stories are true. Even so, the Great Wall is still an absolutely stunning and breathtaking achievement. So let's get into its real story.
Today, China has about 1.4 billion people, making it one of the most populated countries on Earth. It's also one of the oldest, with 3,500 years of continuous written history, though civilization there goes back even further. Some believe that unlike Europe, which was settled by humans migrating from Africa, China's civilization may have developed from prehistoric people who were already living in the area.
The wall itself is massive, even by modern standards. It stretches over 13,000 miles. That's about 5 times the distance from New York to Los Angeles, or roughly the same distance from the North Pole to the South Pole. And nothing humans have built since comes close in scale. Of course, it didn't go up overnight. It took centuries to complete. You probably know that ancient cities built walls for protection, and Chinese cities were no exception.
In 220 BC, the first emperor of a unified China had the bold idea to connect all these city walls into one huge wall to protect the country from northern invaders. A trusted general oversaw the project, using an army of workers, soldiers, commoners, and prisoners. The wall was originally made of tamped earth and wood, and in some strategic spots, sections overlapped for extra security. The walls averaged around 26 feet high back then, but they didn't look like the stone wall we picture today. Every new emperor would continue the project, repairing and extending it while improving construction techniques. Some used bricks, others added granite or marble blocks. Watchtowers and signal platforms weren't there in the beginning either. They were added by the Ming Dynasty, allowing smoke and fire signals to relay messages quickly across the wall. That's why the wall looks uneven and varied in materials today, which actually adds to its charm and shows just how much effort and time it took to build. One reason parts of the wall have survived for centuries is thanks to sticky rice mortar. This special mortar, made from glutinous rice, acts almost like cement. It's so strong and water-resistant that even weeds can't grow between the bricks. Look closely and you'll see some bricks have markings carved into them. These were made by the builders to ensure quality control and recorded info like the location, quantity, and officials in charge. So if there were construction issues, it'd be clear who was responsible. Not long ago, researchers studied historical Ming Dynasty records and found mentions of hidden doors in the wall.
Curious, they used drones to photograph nearly 90% of the Ming-era wall and discovered remains of over 220 secret doors.
Some were only big enough for one person to pass through. Others were wide enough for 2 horses.
Why were they there? The wall's main job was to keep enemies out, so building doors sounds, well, a bit counterproductive, doesn't it?
But these weren't regular doors. They were hidden passages, camouflaged to blend in with the wall so enemies couldn't spot them.
They were used for secret trade, spying, and launching surprise attacks.
If enemy soldiers ever attacked, Chinese troops could use the inner passages, break through the camouflaged exit from inside, and catch them off guard.
Still, the wall wasn't completely impenetrable. You could climb over or walk around it. That's why watchtowers were essential.
Guards would spot approaching enemies and send signals to mobilize the army or lure enemy forces into tough terrain.
Construction of the wall stopped by the late 19th century as it lost military value with new technology.
Today, only about 8% of the wall is still in good shape. Much of it is damaged or completely gone due to natural erosion and human destruction.
Entire sections were dismantled to reuse bricks for houses and farms, and even tourists chip away stones as souvenirs.
Considering that over 10 million tourists visit each year, that's a lot of missing stones.
Since 1987, the wall has been a UNESCO World Heritage Site, highlighting its importance to humanity.
China actually has 56 UNESCO sites, second only to Italy, which has 58.
And did you know the wall isn't just for sightseeing?
Since 1999, it's hosted the Great Wall Marathon, one of the world's toughest races.
Runners can choose a full marathon, which is 26 miles, a half marathon, which is 13 miles, or a shorter 5-mile run. All along the wall, steps included.
Now let's switch topics to ancient tomb traps.
Imagine this. It's nighttime, and you're exploring the tomb of Pharaoh Tutankhamun.
You don't have a flashlight, only a small torch.
You walk down staircases lined with hieroglyphs, some warning that anyone who steals from the tomb will be cursed forever.
Even if you don't believe in curses, it's still creepy.
You find a giant stone door. Is it a trap?
You push it open, only to find an empty room.
You check your map, keep going, but after what feels like hours, realize you're lost in a maze.
You can't even find the door you came through.
You start to think you've fallen for the Pharaoh's trap, and you didn't even bring lunch.
We've all seen movies where adventurers explore ancient tombs full of deadly traps. Sliding doors, poisonous snakes, spiked pits, and rolling boulders.
But did these traps really exist?
Sorry to break it to you, they mostly didn't.
Ancient civilizations didn't have the advanced tech needed for such elaborate traps.
That doesn't mean tombs were left totally unprotected, though. Many civilizations built empty rooms as decoys to confuse tomb robbers. Take the tomb of Amenhotep III in Luxor's Valley of the Kings. It's huge, with over 10 connected chambers and steep staircases, and the actual burial chamber is well hidden. Some tombs had fake doors that concealed deep pits, up to 20 feet, to surprise anyone trying to sneak through. Other designs included maze-like passages and fake walls to slow down intruders. As for stories of deadly snakes inside these pits, it's unlikely. Even if a snake got in, it wouldn't survive long without food, so the idea of living traps was more myth than reality. But some traps were real, and clever. In the tomb of the Red Queen in Palenque, Mexico, archaeologists found the burial chamber filled with a mysterious red powder. Tests showed it was cinnabar, a highly toxic mineral. Breathing it in could cause severe health problems. It may have been intended as a deadly trap for grave robbers. Beyond physical traps, curses were another defense. Tombs often had warnings that anyone stealing from them would suffer terrible fates, like losing their home to fire or falling ill with incurable diseases. These curses sound silly today, but were probably quite scary back then. Some believe these curses were real, like the so-called curse of Tutankhamun. When British archaeologist Howard Carter discovered King Tut's tomb in the 1920s, a series of strange deaths and accidents among his team fueled rumors of a pharaoh's curse. Even if it was coincidence, it kept the legend alive. He died just a few years later, and some of his assistants even lost their homes in floods, just like one of those ancient curses had warned. Some people say it was all just a coincidence, since there's no real proof these things were actually connected. But what do you think? Maybe it was an effective trap after all.
At some point in its long and fascinating history, our dear planet Earth was just quietly spinning around the sun. And then, out of nowhere, life got interesting. Plants and animals started showing off all kinds of wild and complex features. Fast forward to about 65 million years ago, and bam, a cosmic disaster struck. Or at least, that's what scientists think. A massive asteroid likely hit Earth, wiping out the dinosaurs and other big creatures. We can't say exactly what the asteroid was like, but we know it was huge and kicked up so much dust that it spread all over the planet. You can still see traces of that ancient dust layer in sedimentary rock today, and if you dig down, you'll find loads of fossils, remains of prehistoric creatures living happily until the asteroid crashed their party. Think of it like the planet hitting the reset button, clearing out space for something new. And guess who took full advantage? Mammals. These little furry creatures multiplied and spread everywhere now that the big bullies were gone. It's pretty simple. With the dinosaurs gone, mammals had room to thrive. All kinds of mammals moved in. Placental mammals, marsupials, and even egg-laying ones, bringing serious variety to life on Earth. We humans like to see primates as our closest family here on Earth. What's their story?
Well, around 63 million years ago, just a few million years after the dinosaurs' final bow, primates split into two big branches, the dry-nosed primates, which eventually became monkeys and apes, and us, and the wet-nosed primates, who went their own way. The fun didn't stop there. About 58 million years ago, a little primate known as the tarsier showed up. With giant eyes perfect for nighttime adventures, tarsiers evolved separately from other primates. Even today, they're the only purely carnivorous primates, feasting on insects, birds, small rodents, and lizards.
What makes them special? Their eyes are twice as big as their brains, and their heads can turn 180 degrees like owls. Thanks to these superpowers and special ankle bones that work like springs, they're true nighttime acrobats. In case you're wondering, their name comes from those ankle bones.
But let's leave these tiny creatures and get back to the bigger picture. Around 55 million years ago, Earth's temperature shot up dramatically. This sudden heat wave was too much for many deep-sea creatures and plants, and they disappeared. But as always, one creature's loss is another's opportunity. Marine mammals known as cetaceans took over the empty niches and became kings of the ocean. This group includes whales and dolphins. About 47 million years ago, scientists discovered a primate fossil that caused quite a stir. They first thought it was the missing link between humans and other primates. But funny enough, it turned out to belong to the wet-nosed group, not our dry-nosed branch.
Moving forward to about 40 million years ago, something big happened. The New World monkeys, our distant cousins, branched off from Old World monkeys and headed to South America, where they still live today. What makes them different? Well, for one thing, Old World monkeys have downward-facing nostrils.
About 25 million years ago, another special group appeared, apes without tails. These are our closest relatives, gibbons, great apes, and eventually us. The first to branch off were the gibbons, swinging into the scene around 18 million years ago. A few million years later, the great apes joined the party. Orangutans were among the earliest, living in the forests of South Asia. Then around 7 million years ago, our ancestors took a major evolutionary fork in the road. One path led to us, Homo sapiens, while the other led to chimpanzees and bonobos. Those two branches stayed close for a while, then finally split. Around 5.6 million years ago, a primate called Ardipithecus came along, known for walking on two legs, one of the earliest bipedal apes.
Then about 4 million years ago came Australopithecus, the oldest members of our human subtribe. What made them special? They started using stone tools.
A turning point came about 2 million years ago. Faced with food shortages, our ancestors split into two groups. One evolved bigger jaws to crush tough food like nuts, while the other grew bigger brains to figure out new ways to get food.
Guess which group survived? Yep, the big-brained ones, our ancestors.
Around 2.5 million years ago, a species known as handyman appeared, smarter and better at using tools. Then about 1.9 million years ago, Homo erectus emerged, with brains nearly twice as big. They were the first of our ancestors to leave Africa, and they even knew how to control fire.
About 700,000 years ago, humans began cooking food, and by 500,000 years ago, they were making clothes. Our own species, Homo sapiens, didn't appear until about 300,000 years ago.
Pretty late to the party, but we changed everything. Modern humans brought complex language and social structures. It's believed speech evolved around the same time as our species, letting us share stories and shape the world with words. Think about it. The universe is about 13.8 billion years old, and for 99.998% of that time, we didn't exist. Our species has only been here for a blink of an eye, but in that short time, we've uncovered the whole story of how we got here. And the story isn't over. It's still being written every moment. When you picture ancient ruins, you don't imagine them hanging in mid-air or stuck randomly on tree branches. Most artifacts we see in museums were uncovered through tons of digging.
Old buildings naturally crumble over time if they aren't cared for. Sometimes people reused building materials, sacrificing older structures. Abandoned homes left under rain and sun don't stand much chance. And some simply fell apart from erosion. So really, the only way an ancient building or artifact survives thousands of years is by being buried and protected underground.
Finally, thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to follow Secrets of the Ancients and keep an eye out for our future videos. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe, give us a like, and leave a comment. We really